Hello everybody, this is Tim back here again, here with another video, this time for Rob Zombie's The Munsters. Now when this movie was first announced, I already knew that Rob Zombie was pretty much a fan of The Munsters, so this was kind of like a passion project for him. So I actually had hopes for this one. I was excited for this movie. When he found out he was casting his wife, I was like, okay, that's kind of what Rob does, I'm fine with it. Then the trailer got released and a lot of people just like dogged on it because of how low budget it looked or whatever, because people thought the budget was going to be like 40 million, and then come to find out he wasn't anywhere close to that. So now the movie is pretty much leaked online before its actual release date. I decided to just watch it, just to give my thoughts. As far as the movie goes, listen, I'm somebody who is kind of 50-50 on Rob Zombie. I started out being a fan of him. I liked House of a Thousand Corpses. I thought it was a good, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 homage type movie. Devil's Rejects, I loved. That's his masterpiece, in my opinion. Um, his remake of Halloween as a Rob Zombie version of Halloween, I thought it was good. I didn't love it, but I liked it. I thought it was good. His animated film, Haunted World of El Super Beasto, I thought was a good, like, Ren and Stimpy or whatever type of animated dumb teen comedy type thing. I liked that one. After that, he kind of takes like a nosedive for me. I'm not a fan of his Halloween 2. I like some of the ideas in it. Some of the visuals are good, but it goes like completely against like what Zombie kind of built with that first remake of Halloween, his first one, and it just goes to like a completely different, more supernatural direction. It kind of works better as like its own movie, really. Maybe you can enjoy it as a Rob Zombie movie, but as a Rob Zombie like Halloween movie, as a Halloween flick, it really doesn't work. It's pretty weak. Um, and so the movies after that, 31, I thought was average. Actually, I liked 31 as like an all right watch of a movie. But once again, like I'm saying, he's slipping, starting with the Halloween 2 for me. Um, his Lords of Salem, I didn't like at all. It was just barely passable, only for the visuals. So, yeah, he's been on a big downward slide for me. Now, starting with this one right here, his Munsters remake, I'll go ahead and say it, and give it, it's a low 2 out of 4. Similar to Lords of Salem, it's passable for the visuals and maybe one or two jokes or performances. That's about it. It's pretty much a remake that acts as like a prequel to the series, and how the Munsters like get to their home or whatever they live at, Mockingbird Lane. Shari Moon Zombie has some passable moments, but she's the worst of the main cast because it comes off like she's trying to act instead of actually acting. So yeah, she does come off bad, but you can tell she's trying. But I feel sorry for Sherry because I know a lot of people are going to dog her for this movie. And Rob Zombie's like a 50-50 director. People out there really like him or really hate him, but I'm just in the middle where I'm just like, he's okay. I mean, he's got some stuff I like in his early career, but then his stuff just starts getting worse and worse in his later movies. But yeah, she really comes off like she's trying to act and trying to do like an impression or something, a performance of like a 60s sitcom show. Almost feels what this feels like is like Rob Zombie's trying to recapture that 60s sitcom feel of the original show by putting in all these types of jokes and stuff. But he like overdoes it, makes the movie even like way more cartoony than the actual show was, which throws off the feel. And because of like the lighting and stuff he uses, like this over the top like comic book Batman Forever type lighting, it ends up feeling like but yeah, because of his lighting and stuff, it always ends up looking like some kind of over the top like comic book type thing or whatever, like kind of like Batman Forever or Batman and Robin, which makes it feel something like more from the '90s, like a '90s TV movie on Nickelodeon or the Disney Channel or something, which is what caused it to lose part of that like old sitcom '60s flavor. I'll say this: if this movie had been in black and white, I think it might have ended up being like all right, another all right like average time waster similar to 31, which I'm okay with 31. I like 31 as an alright time waster, but it's a big drop from his earlier stuff, which I actually liked. So Rob Zombie's more of a hit or miss bad director for me. Like in the end, I'm in the middle, like I said, he's just okay. But yeah, if it had been in black and white, I think it would have helped this movie, and maybe there would be like a black and white Blu-ray edition. If there isn't, there should be, Rob, get on that. But yeah, the other actors, the guy who plays Herman, he's doing his own thing instead of like trying to do an impression like that. He plays Grandpa, and how Sherry plays Lily. He's okay. I like some of his deadpan, like bad jokes or whatever, or not deadpan, but his deliberate bad jokes that he does. They're supposed to be kind of bad but funny at the same time. I actually thought he kind of sold those. Those were all right. Um, and the way he kind of acts, though, just like his natural on-screen charisma. I noticed the dude who was in 31, Jeff Daniel Phillips, I believe is his name. He also did the Geico commercials with as the caveman. He's okay. He's harmless. I think he's fine here. He's okay, like I said, he's okay. He's no Fred Gwynn. He's not even close. But for his own Herman Munster, I thought he was okay. Another thing is like the way the characters are characterized in this. It's like they missed the point of like who the characters were in the original sitcom and all that. Like the Munsters in the show were more just like an all-American family that just kind of happened to be Munsters. That was it. And then you realize there was something wrong with them, or different about them. Not wrong, but different. And unlike the Addams Family, which was slightly more edgy, you don't get that with the Munsters. Here, though, like Herman is like trying to be like a rock star and stuff. Like he's singing on stage and all that. And some of his vocals aren't actually too bad, but it's like he's trying to be famous and all that. Which is, I get what Zombie's going for because it's supposed to be like a prequel reboot or whatever. He's trying to say this is like the young versions of them. But the problem is that Sherry Moon Zombie and this actor, they both look old. Like if they was going to go for that, these should have been like teenagers playing these characters. But because Rob likes to constantly cast the same people he always uses, it throws the dynamic off and it doesn't mesh for what Zombie's going for. He's trying to say that this is like the young, youthful versions of the characters who are a little bit more outgoing and stuff and want to dance and everything and all that kind of stuff and sing. That could maybe work in a prequel. That's not a bad idea for like maybe doing a young version of these characters. But because the actors are so old and he wants to constantly cast the same people, including his wife, it doesn't jive and it doesn't mesh. Yeah, that doesn't really work. Overall, besides that, there's just still some of the comic book type visuals, like Batman Forever type stuff. The lighting and stuff is kind of okay at points. Some of the in terms of the performances, Daniel Roebuck, I believe is his name, who plays Grandpa. He is good at times. It feels like he's doing a bit of like cosplay, though, because of the way this movie looks low budget, like it's from the '90s, because of the lighting and stuff that's used. And you can tell like some of the sets in here, like production design wise, look really bad because of the low budget, and there's like some CGI scenes with some CG background, green screen backgrounds that look really bad. Overall, though, you could tell Rob is somewhat trying here. Maybe he didn't have the money to do what he was wanting to do, but just even if this movie would have been bigger budget with the script that he's got here, I don't think it would have worked. Another problem here is that he's trying to make a movie out of the Munsters, but there's no real story here. It almost feels like an extended pilot episode for some Munsters reboot, or maybe one or two episodes of a reboot of the Munsters like combined. That's what it really feels like. There's no real plot here, or not much of one. It's a bare thread plot. It's like the wolf brother of Lily or whatever is like trying to get some money to pay off his debts and all that, and the woman is like trying to help him scam the Grandpa Dracula character, is like Grandpa's ex-wife, crazy ex-wife, whatever we find out towards the over halfway through the movie, and they end up still in the castle, so Herman and the gang has to move to Hollywood Hills or whatever. And that's where they go to Mockingbird Lane, and that's pretty much the whole thing. It's a very bare bones plot. It's just like really stretched out. It feels like a very stretched out pilot episode of a Munsters like reboot, like I said. Overall, like I said though, because of some of the colors and the guy who plays Grandpa is good but not great performance. He's not nowhere on the level they do from the original show, but he's good. And Herman's okay performance overall. By the end of this, I didn't hate it. It was just kind of lame, really. Maybe if you're like a hardcore, like super hardcore Munsters fan, you might walk away going, for shame. But me, as someone who likes the Munsters but doesn't like love or like the Munsters, so I'm more of an Addams Family guy. This was passable. It's a passable movie. Something I will never watch again. If you're like a little kid or something who has like no idea what the Munsters are or something like that, and you see this as like a child, I can see you maybe developing like a fondness for it. But overall, as a movie, it's passable. It's not worth watching again. I will never see this again. I take that back. Maybe I will watch it one more time when it comes out, because I might just buy it just to complete my Rob Zombie collection. Sometimes I just buy certain stuff just to complete director collections, just to listen to his commentary. But yeah, overall, lame movie, not worth watching. But if you want to check it out, I'd say don't subscribe to Netflix for it or anything. Watch it online for free. It's not really worth like going out of your way to see. But if you're just curious, there's plenty of worse movies. This is better to me than Lords of Salem as a movie, because it feels like it would have a little bit more effort put into it. Or Lords of Salem, which is, I don't know, that movie just kind of bland. But I'm not much of a witch horror fan. But yeah, overall, passable lame movie. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again.